Good evening, everyone. I'm Ava Death Dolly, and this is my channel. And I don't normally shoot this late, at least not anymore, but some rather interesting things came out across the internet. Set off a lot of alarm bells, but they may be premature. See, the thing was that what's been floating around has been this declaration that the evil regime has fulfilled the desires and wet dreams of the Heritage Foundation by somehow declaring trans people domestic terrorists. And bitch, please. Well, I couldn't find anything new about it except the post from 6 months ago. Sorry, smoking a glove because I'm under a lot of stress right now. Largely because of this tooth that's really hurting, and I gotta raise some money for tomorrow morning. So there's this declaration that they're gonna convince the FBI to stop looking for serial killers, stop looking for kidnappers, stop watching actual terrorist cells, people that build bombs, people that are getting money from foreign governments, and every right-wing extremist group that's been touting their automatic weapons and plans to do whatever in support of the evil dictator, and focus on people like me. Imagine that. All of a sudden I'm more dangerous than fucking Osama bin Laden. Bitch, please. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I used to live, 30 years ago, I used to live next door to an FBI agent. Squeaky clean Mormon guy, and his wife, well, you see those Mormon wives billboards, they got tans, they got hair color, all that shit. No, maybe their families were Mormon, but those girls aren't. Trust me, the Mormons I lived to had pasty white skin and bad fashion sense. I mean, really bad. I feel bad for them. It was like that scene in that first Men in Black movie. I was like, God, do something with these dreams. It's just crazy. Oh, man. Oh, shit. That's the problem with these clothes. They tend to go out. Well, all that aside. So, we got a little checking tonight. And we're not seeing anything there, so it may be a false alarm. It may be nothing. But in any case, it's insane. And this is something that they want to do, and they want to justify their plans because, again, these are genocidal maniacs that also are determined to take the right for women to vote away. They want to invalidate driver's license, birth certificates, and they basically, if you take out more than half the women in the country based on the SAVE Act alone, you can almost guarantee that Republicans might start winning races because, let's face it, they can't win with their bad ideas. Nobody likes their ideas. Unless you're a white racist and you're going along with it because Trump is giving you permission to use the N-word and openly discriminate against people, which is morally wrong, especially if you're one of these people that wear those little gold crosses around your neck. Please. That's not Christianity. Hey, just because I'm a fucking witch and a practicing Buddhist does not mean I don't know shit. I was actually raised Catholic, okay? So, and I could say I know quite a bit, but fact of the matter is, that's not Christianity, There's a right from wrong in every word of the sense, and what this is, it's just wrong. We've been on the watch because the rumor mill has suggested that there will be a transgender genocide, and they intend to murder all 3.9 million of us. First by dehumanizing us, then making us unemployed, then making us, forcing us into the streets by evictions and other discriminatory practices, which I've actually been a victim of now for almost 9 months. And then to find various ways to arrest us, either for using identification that we legally and rightfully went to the courts and got judges to sign off on and now declare them illegal, or keep changing the rules of the game. who ever heard of a football game where just because the losing team is upset that they're losing, that they decide to rewrite the rules and say, okay, we're now going to move the goalpost back about 95 yards. Would never happen, right? But that's kind of what these motherfuckers are doing. I mean, they know their shit's unpopular. They know it's unrealistic, and it's unjustified, and it's morally wrong. You know, we've always existed. We've lived around you guys forever. You know, trans people have always existed and always will. We're part of the human experience, whether you like it or not. I mean, we're just 1% of the population. You know, you could spend your whole life and probably never meet one of us, and even if you did, chances are you might not even notice. I mean, I hear all these things about, oh, I don't want to see a trans person. If I catch a trans person in a bathroom, whatever, you know, it's like, I was using women's restrooms as of 30 years ago. I've never had an incident, you know, so only when I briefly detransitioned because I couldn't get my meds and damn near killed me, you know, because I have a lot of medical problems during that period that I was getting threatened, and again, by men, and it wasn't for using the women's room. I was using actually a disabled room, you know, because I wanted to, you know, not catch fire. I mean, one time I did walk in my men's room, I was nearly assaulted. I mean, I was, you know, doing my thing, and some guy just decided he's going to burst into my stall and start, you know, getting physical with me. I mean, those cis white men who want to say, oh, we're mentally ill. No. You guys are. You're the ones that are obsessed with genitalia. You're the ones who want to police bodies. You're the ones who want to define who a woman is. And the fact is, you don't even know what a fucking woman is anymore. I mean, to say biology, please. None of you guys are biology majors, and probably the most biology most of you ever had was in grade school, or maybe junior high at best. You know, I doubt the biochemical engineers are going to line up in mass droves and support your claims. You know, but this obsession with trans people you didn't even know existed as of 3 years ago, you're coming after? Bitch, please. Wow. It's absurd. And I don't think the American people, once they realize just how far these whack jobs want to go to harm us. I mean, they've really disrupted a lot of lives. I mean, the fact of the matter is, more than 450,000 trans people who live in red states in the last 6 months were forced to flee from their homes and move out west. Now, you got us all cornered in a kill box because they took away a lot of our passports. So, I mean, think a little hard before you just start cheering or looking the other way. Because, you know, as it stands, there is not a single American that gets to question how could the German people, as educated and as civilized and cultured as they were, the people that bought you Bach and Beethoven, I mean, and Strauss, how could they have allowed a fucking, you know, 2-bit painter, you know, loser, you know, with a lot of hate in his heart, to take over their country and lead it to ruin? Most catastrophic war ever happened. How could they do that? You don't get to ask that anymore. They're letting it happen right now. How fortunate are we that, you know, those missiles, those hypersonic missiles that are pounding the shit out of Tel Aviv, they're not hitting here. You know, but the scary reality is those missiles, they're flying at almost Mach 18. Ours only goes to Mach 4.5. Think about that. That's technology that we don't have. That may have just made our entire carrier fleet obsolete. That's a very uncomfortable thing. And mind you, I come from a military family, so the idea doesn't sit very well with me. You know, that's the new realities, and if that doesn't make you upset, this illegal war, which has now made the U.S. Treasury insolvent. Yeah, we're actually bankrupt, this country, but you're not feeling it yet. They're delaying the horror, and it's coming. When you start paying $100 for a loaf of bread, don't be mad at us. Blame's on you, the Trump supporter. And you, the people who cried, oh, but Gaza, I'm not going to vote for the woman because she doesn't do whatever for Gaza. This is the price we all pay now. But more so, my small community. Not very many of us. We've done you no harm. And I'm not going to plead for my life here because it's insulting. I paid my taxes. My father spent his whole adult life wearing the uniform of this country, defending us from Soviet communism, tyranny, and even did a tour of duty in Vietnam. He died of the effects of Agent Orange, a chemical that his own government sprayed on him, lied to him about it. And lied to the point where people like me who were born after the war were unknowingly given some gifts, inherited some gifts from that chemical. And, I can't prove that my gender dysphoria is the result of that. What I can tell you is that, 35 years of military service and the price that my family has paid for this country, I think you guys owe us one. But this illegal and morally wrong persecution of LGBTQ people, more specifically transgender people, is morally wrong. It's wrong, it's unjustified, it's unwarranted, and it's absurd. Somewhere out there is probably a little girl who was kidnapped, taken from her bedroom, and is being held by some scary, creepy man who owns a MAGA hat, and a lot of guns. There's probably some grieving parents up in the Pacific Northwest wondering what happened to their college-bound daughter who never checked in. It's probably floating face down in a river somewhere or in the woods. We're never going to know. Why? Because FBI agents who should be pursuing those leads, and this is what the FBI is good at. I'll give them credit. Yeah, even that squeaky clean Mormon that I used to live next door to. Yeah, squeaky as fuck, but you know what? You could sleep well at night knowing that guy was on the job. He was going after the bad guys, the real bad guys. We're not the bad guys. We're not even guys. Fuck. Well, there are some trans that are guys. Call them trans mouse. But regardless, we've never needed your approval. We've never needed to explain ourselves to you. We don't owe you an apology, and we don't owe you any explanations. All we ask is you treat us with the same dignity and respect given to any other human being. We're all Americans. To put us in the same league with Osama bin Laden, that's crazy. It's nonsense. Seriously. We're not your enemy. We're your fellow Americans. Unless you really think we're ISIS. Yeah, I've taken a couple joke photos, with fake weapons, but, because obviously you didn't get the joke, but whatever. The fact is we're harmless, At most, maybe you might get blinded by some of my shocking pink, doll dresses, It's like, hey, what's a near 60-year-old dressing like a 14-year-old girl? Well, hey, I'll tell you what that's about. It's about what's guaranteed in the Constitution. The ultimate law of the land. Something that this wannabe dictator fails to abide by. It's supposed to be the law of the land, And you know what that law says? It says that each and every American is guaranteed life, liberty, and the pursuit of justice. We are in the pursuit of happiness. We're supposed to be guaranteed that. The right to do it. We work hard, we could reap some rewards. Not be discriminated because some group of religious fuddy-duddies, out on the East Coast, don't believe women should have the right to vote, decides that we should be exterminated like we're some kind of vermin, And speaking of vermin, Trump and his allies, they love quoting the Nazis. My God, they're following their same patterns. But the thing is, I can't see these guys actually pulling off, a death camp situation. We've been rather disturbed to know that DHS is trying to build more detention centers and complete with incinerators designed to make human bones disappear. Yeah, well, we're making such trails that you're going to have a hard time making us disappear. And the world is watching. You know, you're some person on the sideline who just says, well, I don't have an opinion. You know, this old German poem, and I've quoted it many times. And you can look it up. First they came for the trade unionists, but I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the communists, but I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the Jews, but I wasn't Jewish. Then they came for me, and there was no one to speak up for me. Don't let that become you. Worse, don't be that citizen of Dachau, dusting human ash off their shoulders and saying, we didn't know. Yeah, you're right. And the Americans then knew better. And they didn't believe these Germans. That's why they made them dig up all the fucking corpses and clean up the mess. You know, they had a moral obligation to do something because they didn't do it when it really mattered. You know, General Eisenhower, who later became our president in the 1950s, instructed his soldiers at Buchenwald, photograph every fucking body. Photograph, document every rag you see. Because one day, some clown is going to come around and say that none of this ever happened. That day's here. Trump with his moving hands and smoking. Ooh, look at Bin Laden. Oh, look at Biden. Oh, look at Hillary. Ooh, look at Obama. You know, it's just like smoke and mirrors, distractions. This fucking war is a distraction because, I mean, the Epstein files are pretty damning. You know, man's a pedophile. Right? Pedophile and a rapist. But not all that. Those of you who somehow thought he was going to be good for your pocketbook, this is the man who bankrupted, the only man in the world who has bankrupted a casino. And now he's bankrupted the U.S. Treasury. The U.S. is insolvent. Fucking wake up. You know what that means? Once the artificial inflation barrier is gone, we're going to have hyperinflation. We're going to be like Argentina was 15 years ago. Or worse, how Germany was a century ago. That's why there were so many riots. That's why there was so much chaos. You really want that? I don't. I don't think anybody does. But blaming trans people for all your problems, there's only 3.9 million of us. Yeah, it's morally wrong, and it's unjustified. Well, I hope the rumors of tonight, I mean, technically we were supposed to be rounded up 3 days ago. It didn't happen. Hopefully the rumors of tonight, or maybe the next day, will just come to pass and nothing comes of it. More hot air from a bunch of blowhards. And I hope that's the case because, you know, I used to correspond with the grandson of the SS Commandant of Auschwitz-Birkenau. You know, Obersternführer of the SS, Rudolf Höss. I used to talk to his grandson. And I used to ask him a lot of questions. And I got to know a lot about him, his grandfather, and the legacy of his family. And it started to give me, after a while, it started to give me nightmares. So when that movie, The Zone of Interest, came out, I just leaped out of my seat before they even said what the movie was about. Because I said, oh God, I know these people. Please don't be them. Please don't be them. And sure enough, it was them. I couldn't help it, but I had to go see the film. It terrified me and scared me because somehow or another I could somehow see something like that happening again. Well, the Heritage Foundation wants it to happen. MAGA wants it to happen, and I don't think they understand what that means. You know, because you've let this ultimate con artist, the ultimate carnival barker, the ultimate king of distractions, convince you that we're not even human beings, so you no longer care. You know, we're not fighting for anything special. We had our rights, the same rights as you. But a lot of them have been taken away, you know? 9 states have now said you can't have your correct gender on your driver's license. It has to be gender at birth, which is bullshit. Try telling somebody who has a penile implant, or tell someone who has a vagina that was born with a penis, you know? You just have no fucking idea. I think maybe people of color, you know, black folks, I think they know the insecurity, the terror, and the what ifs of a traffic stop. And now that terror is now going to be extended to us. And it ain't right. It's not right that they do that to black folks, but to do that to us. And then, oh God, can you imagine? Trans women, black trans women, and they get it the worst of it than anybody. I feel for them. You know, my light complexion gives me a small degree of privilege, but the way things are going, I'm losing every ounce of it. And for no good reason. Look, folks, I'm going to close this with this. I hope we don't have any more false alarms, but I can't guarantee that. We could still have another false alarm. We could actually have the real thing. But I'll say to you what I've been saying all along for this last year. Only you can prevent transgender genocide. That's all I have to say tonight. Sleep well and please be good to each other. Life's too short to live with hate or to live in fear. And no American should be in fear of their own government like we are tonight. Good night. Love you all.